Shri Sougata ji.
Sir, I rise to speak on the Central Excise Amendment Bill 2025 brought forward by the Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman. Once again, it has fallen on the Finance Minister to mobilize resources for the government, due to which she has brought about this bill. It has been stated in the statement of objection reasons that with the GST, Central Excise Act was repealed by Section 174 of Central GST Act, accepting respect of goods listed under entry 84 of List 1 of 7th Schedule to the Constitution. This includes tobacco and tobacco products. With the levy of GST and compensation cess on tobacco and tobacco products, the rates of central excise duties were reduced significantly to allow for levy of compensation cess without large impacts. So, in order to expand the financial space, fiscal space, to increase the rate of central excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products, so as to protect tax incidents, it is imperative to amend the table in Section 4 of the 4th Schedule to the Act. Now, why this was brought about? Sir, products such as cigarettes, cigars, hookah, tobacco, chewing tobacco, zarda and scented tobacco currently attract 28% GST, plus a hefty compensation cess that varies by product and in some cases goes as high as to 90%. This cess was originally introduced in 2017 to compensate states for the GST-related revenue loss and was extended until March 2026 to help repay loans taken during the COVID period. With loan repayments expected to be completed, so this will be completed by December, compensation cess will cease. To prevent a sudden fall in tax incidence on tobacco, government plans to replace the cess with a new central excise duty. The bill seeks to give the government the fiscal space to increase the rate of central excise duty on tobacco and tobacco products so as to protect tax incidence according to the statement of objection reasons. The change aligns with the GST Council's September decision to discontinue the compensation cess on all goods except tobacco and transition to a two-rate GST structure while reserving a 40% slab for ultra-luxury and thin goods. Now, if enacted, this bill will replace the GST compensation cess on tobacco with a central excise duty. Allow the centre to revise excise rates to match current local total taxation levels, ensure revenue neutrality by keeping the tax burden on thin goods. Thin goods, as you know, costly cars and all that, unchanged. Create a permanent taxation structure instead of temporary cess and maintain tobacco under the highest GST bracket of 40% once the rationalized slabs take place. In any case, we are opposed to cess because cess is wholly consumed by the central government. The states do not get any part of it. Now, under the new law, this will replace the GST compensation cess on tobacco with the central excise duty. Allow the centre to devise excise rates to match total taxation levels, ensure revenue neutrality, etc. Now, there are two bills. After this will come the bill on pan masala, which the minister, for her own reasons, Pan masala tax will be helping both health and defense, national security. What I'll discuss that when that bill comes up. Now, this will ensure the total tax incidence on tobacco and pan masala remains unchanged, replace the compensation cess with a permanent excise duty, introduce a new machine capacity cess on pan masala to bolster public health, prevent revenue loss to the centre once the compensation cess ends, which will end by the end of this year. This bill will formally extend the compensation cess on tobacco products such as cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco and zarda. The central will gain authority to impose and revise a new central excise duty on tobacco under the amended Central Excise Act 44. The aim is to keep the overall incidence of tobacco, currently a mix of GST and compensation cess, at the high level even after the cess expires. Now, what was the logic behind compensation cess? It was an additional charge. Compensation cess was levied on certain goods and services in India, designed to compensate states for potential revenue losses following the implementation of the GST, while largely merged into the new GST slabs. As of September 2025, it continues to apply to tobacco and tobacco-related products. So the purpose was to protect revenue for manufacturing heavy states, which were expected to lose tax income under the consumption-based GST system. The mechanism was revenue collected from the cess was put in a dedicated fund and disbursed to states based on a formula that projected 14% annual growth. Goods covered originally applied to luxury and thin goods, including luxury cars, aerated drinks, coal and tobacco products. The 56th GST Council meeting, it was a very important meeting, streamlined the tax structure, leading to the cess being integrated into a new consolidated GST rate for most luxury and thin goods. For example, luxury cars and aerated drinks are subjected to 40% GST, which includes the cess component. Now, this cess is extended till March 31, 2026, but is solely focused on repaying loans the central government took during the COVID-19 pandemic. So, remaining cess are still subjected to a separate compensation cess in addition to their GST rate. Cess will continue for these items until the outstanding loan and interest obligations are fully discharged. The bill has been introduced in the Lok Sabha. Now, the bill in its schedule details the different types of tobacco products, starting with unmanufactured tobacco refuse, which includes sun-cured country tobacco, tobacco for manufacture of beedis, not stems, tobacco for manufacture of hookah, flue-cured Virginia tobacco. It also includes cigars, cheroots, cigarillos and cigarettes of tobacco or of tobacco substitutes, including cigars, cheroots, cigarillos, cigars and cheroots, cigarettes containing tobacco, other than filter cigarettes of length, including length of the filter length being 11 millimeters or actual length, filter cigarettes of length, the length being 11 meters or its actual length. So all this will fall under this, and there are other manufactured tobaccos. For instance, water pipe tobacco, hookah in Gudaku or Gudaku tobacco, smoking mixture for pipes and cigarettes, on which any case, lot of tax is put. So as I mentioned earlier, that this has been forced. Government has been compelled because the cess is going and government has to make up the revenue loss. Now this brings me to the end of my deposition on my submission on the fiscal matter. But here, while speaking, both Purandeshwari ji from the ruling party and Karti Chidambaram from the opposition, they mentioned the moral question of the government depending on tobacco products for its resource mobilization. They mentioned how many people are affected by cancer due to tobacco. I have been a smoker myself. I'm trying to kick the habits because people say that you won't live for 5 years if you can't kick the habits. So if this moral question is before the finance minister, the moral question is before
he can become a brand ambassador to create awareness.
Whether whether the government has any role in controlling the consumption of tobacco, in reducing the health problems, that the finance minister is silent about.
Sougata,
yes, sir.
Time allotted is only 9 minutes for your party and I have already given you 12 minutes.
Good thing. Good thing. I am speaking sense. Why would we appreciate Jagdambika Pal unless she encourages us?
2 more minutes.
So, this question remains, whether fiscal instruments can be used to reduce consumption of tobacco. What alternative? Now there is only mention on the packet that cigarette smoking is injurious to health. Somebody writes, cigarette smoking can even cause death. Now what is...
Sougata, you should not address to Nishikant Dubey ji. Only you address to finance.
No, he is not addressing. He is not talking to him.
Nishikant is the favored child of the ruling party. That's why I try to respond to him. He is a favored child. You will see that he will speak 4 times every day. So this question has been raised. The contrary opinion has been voiced by the Samajwadi party. He said that so many people are dependent on tobacco. Purandeshwari mentioned 6 million tobacco farmers and 20 million tobacco workers. What will happen to them? They have to be found an alternative. I do not belong to the JDU, but Nitish Kumar took a bold decision to establish prohibition in Bihar, which gave him good electoral defeat. He must have lost revenue, but still he took that bold decision. Whether that has reduced illicit liquor in Bihar or not is a question to be probed. Now the same question is whether the finance minister can show courage, boldness, and take a moral stand. No. As finance minister, I do not want to
kindly conclude.
I do not want to encourage smoking, any type of smoking, including cigarettes, including cigars, including hookah, including everything. That is the principal moral question being put before the finance minister. So while one cannot object to resource mobilization by the government, raising revenue, one must pose the question, where from this revenue will come? It seems that all governments, whenever there is shortfall in revenue, the tax is indirect encouragement. Whether increasing price of cigarettes or churros or that has reduced consumption of tobacco. So with this question, I leave it to the finance minister to respond to the moral question raised before her, whether by
Thank you,
increasing tax,
Sougata ji.
the
Shri K. Veera Swami ji.
finance minister is encouraging or discouraging smoking.